I've got a new model to share with you. It's called Off the Rails with a question mark at the end, because this is a tool that can be used to diagnose dysfunction inside of an organization, a company, a church, what have you. And so imagine a train locomotive sitting on the tracks, and those tracks are often called rails, railroads. And so are we off the rails? Well, a healthy organization, a well-functioning entity is like a train that's got some smoke coming out of the smokestack because it's got energy, it's got fuel, it's moving forward, and it's perfectly centered on the tracks. So you can think about the tracks or the rails as clarity. There's certainty about which direction the organization is moving. And the fuel or the energy that's being, used to power the train down the tracks is like resources. And so when an organization has clarity and resources that will help them hit the goal, then that is locomotion. That's organizational forward motion. And when a train gets moving down the tracks, it is almost impossible to stop. It'll go through 3 feet of concrete or what have you. It's incredible what momentum gets going when you've got clarity and resources. Now, in the second picture, there's the locomotive, the engine that pulls the whole line of train cars, and there's smoke coming out the smokestack, but it's not sitting on the rails. In other words, here is an entity, an organization that's got resources and they're chugging away, but they're not going in the direction that they're supposed to be going. And so this is a train that is off the rails, and that leads to chaos. In a train, it's a train wreck. In an organization, it's chaos, it's organizational dysfunction, it's people going every direction, and it's a mess. The third picture shows the locomotive, the engine, sitting right on the tracks, but there's no smoke coming out. In other words, we're clear on where we're going, but we have not allocated the right resources. And in an organization, resources consist of money, budget allocated for the department or the task or whatever the function is. It could be people. It could be time. It might be volunteers in a church or a nonprofit. It might be access to the decision makers. There's all kinds of things that function as resources. In this case, we are stalled. We know where we're supposed to go, but we don't have the resources to make the wheels turn. And then finally, the fourth picture shows smoke coming out the smokestack, and the train is sitting on the tracks, but the wheels are squares. And you can imagine it would be hard to move a train down the track on square wheels. So this is depicting that the organization's clear about where they're supposed to be going, and it's got resources. There's smoke coming out the smokestack, but they're not moving. And the square wheels represent some type of culture problem. It could be a strange kind of culture where people get punished for actually achieving goals or for actually being effective. And you might think of some kind of a collective bargain organization. They're not all like that, but there are some instances where the culture of the organization punishes people who stand out. Or it could be that all the decision-making authority is concentrated in one person or one group of people. So there's resources and clarity, but there's a leadership bottleneck or something like this. So if you've got resources and you've got clarity, but you're still not making progress, there's some other cultural impediment. There's something about the culture of that organization that is preventing forward progress. Well, I hope you can think of ways to use this image of the train to determine if your organization or one that you work with or work for is off the rails or not functioning at its healthiest. And you can always work to get more clarity and the right resources to keep the train moving down the track.